All right, with my hair going wild, welcome to another episode of The Other Side of the Studio. And this is where we talk about all things related to your health and well being, but it's outside of the studio doors, it's outside of the gym, it's outside of your doctor's office. It's where we get real with life. Okay, so I am so super excited about my guest today, and she is a powerhouse. And she sent her bio, so I always get a bio on everyone. And when I was reading hers, her very last part was just like a wowza. So I'm going to start with introducing Leanne with the bottom of her little bio here, because Leanne is committed to self mastery, freedom, responsibility, and authenticity. You can count on Leanne to provide expertise, opportunity, and integrity in your personal growth. Now, you guys, that is wellness. Leanne, I am so excited to have you here, Leanne Bonnell. And she has another part of her that is 20 plus years as an engineer in multiple industries. And I'm going to have to pass that one over to you and your genius, Leanne, because you have so much in here that is just packed with knowledge. Welcome, Leanne.
Thank you, Lauren. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, I spent 20 years in engineering. I started off in the automotive industry. I was working for General Motors and had many of the lines. I was an engineer on many of the lines, from Corvette to full-size pickup trucks and everything in between. So that's really cool. I got to work on the iconic Corvette. It's awesome. And I left GM and decided that I was tired of freezing to death in Michigan. So I moved to South Carolina and worked in heavy industry with bearings at Timken, and then finished my engineering ride, if you will, in telecommunications at Dish Network. So I have run the gamut with many different industries within manufacturing and engineering. And I met my husband down there. South Carolina is home, and we are excited to go back there whenever we can.
Yes, because you moved and well, first of all, so impressive, the work that you've done. And then, what I find even just more interesting is the shift that you made. So you moved, right? So you no longer live in South Carolina.
No, we don't. We live in Richmond, Virginia now, and we moved up here for a job for my husband. It was one of those opportunities that we just could not um, pass up. So we didn't. And we came here. And this is not an engineering or manufacturing center, it's a banking and government center. And I could make cigarettes or I could process chickens, which were close. And I was like, yeah, no. So I had a small Mary Kay business. I love the makeup, I love the skincare. So I have this small business and I blew it up when I got here to Richmond. I earned a diamond ring. I was rocking and rolling, and then the world shut down.
Hmm.
And I pivoted and I became a coach, and I became a health coach and a life coach and then a master coach. And that is a lot of fun. Hang on, I got to mute this site. Otherwise it'll be talking to us the entire time. Um, so I had to make that pivot. I decided because I wanted to change the world with everyone's health, right? And you want to talk about big old not FOMO, imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
because I was not healthy by any stretch of the imagination. And so I just said, I'll be a life coach instead.
Love it.
No, I didn't want to do that either. And then I found Bank. And Bank is a tool that is it, it it's a it started off as a sales tool, The woman who designed it and developed it, she's like, I got tired of being poor. I got tired of missing out on sales, and I was going to figure out what the code, so to speak, is to sales, because you hear the science and all this stuff. And she just developed this personality typer, and it's called Bank. The thing about Bank is it goes deeper, and it helps transform relationships and all of the things that go into that sales piece, the relationship, the know, like, and trust, all of those categories. You can take that and put it in a relationship with your husband, with your sister, your best friend, the neighbor across the street that drives you nuts. Once you learn what Bank is, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I have been very inspired to go and share Bank with everyone I meet, to the point where I take these little cards with me.
Yes.
And I won't talk to some people before I know who they are, because I
Right.
want to be able to speak to the person in front of me, not just speaking.
That is so powerful. And I've heard of Bank, and I know everyone was going, Bank. I want to go to the bank. I know when I first heard of it, I was like, Bank? Is this like a new bank? Is it a But after learning, more about this communication style and sales technique, it was like genius, so genius. And I definitely don't know enough and haven't fully mastered. I know we were just talking about what my code is. So, guys, we're gonna have a little treat for you. We're gonna talk about how to find out what you are, your code, but knowing the person in front of you. And I have heard numerous stories now of just the challenge, and we've all experienced it. I mean, that would be a lot. We've all experienced the breakdown of a conversation, or no, I didn't mean it like that, or everybody's offended, and then you're going, but no, 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 I didn't mean it. That wasn't. But it truly is a communication style that really can save you time, lost relationships, and a lot of money if we learn how to have these better dialogues with the person in front of us, not who we think they are.
Absolutely.
So do share this amazing information.
Okay. Well, the way I like to introduce this really is to tell you that we already told you we moved from Spartanburg, South Carolina, to Richmond, Virginia. My husband could not figure out why his normally strong wife was a pile of goo crying on the floor every day because I was so homesick. He didn't understand that, it was just a mess, right? And so I say Bank saved my marriage, because I went to a networking meeting and there was this woman there, and she said, hey, let's have a one-on-one. By the way, I want you to crack your code first. And I'm like, what? All right, whatever. It's crazy time. Sure, why not? So, so I cracked my code. There's my code. My code is in my name down here.
Mhm.
KNB. Well, I'll tell you about that in just a minute. And what happens is you get a report. And this report I showed to my husband, and I said, what do you think? And he's like, this is you. This is you all the way. And I'm like, let's crack your code. And what I learned was my husband, that's my husband's code.
Wow.
And so when I read his report, I understood him so much more, because rather than me thinking that he was just some kind of, he's from New York, being a, just super in the fast lane. I'm a New Yorker, blah, 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 blah. No, it's his personality. It's not.
Mhm.
So Bank saved my marriage, because Eric and I were then able to communicate in a way that is stronger and better and healthier. So from that point on, I became a raving fan of Bank. And now I am I am doing this. This is the thing. The, the other thing that really, so I was excited about that, but the thing that really tripped my wire about this, I guess that's a way to put it. I was training to become a bank trainer because I'm a bank coach and trainer. And we had to do some pre-work. And during one of these pre-works, I was listening and watching a video. And in the video, the woman presenting said, knowledge personalities, that's my very first code, is knowledge. Knowledge personalities are sometimes thought of as being hard to deal with because they know so much and they want to do so much. And I stopped and just listened to everything that she said. She said, sometimes people call them difficult, and they are, in that way, well, people categorize them that way. I cried. I literally had big gloppy tears rolling down my face because I'm like, oh my God, somebody finally saw me.
Yeah. Oh, I got chills. Yeah.
And for all those people, all those production people or other engineers, all the people I worked with professionally who thought I was difficult, and I wasn't, in my mind, I wasn't being difficult. I was seeking more information. I was asking questions. Blah, blah, blah. She saw me for the very first time, and she saw me for a video. And I was amazed, and I was just so excited to finally have someone see me. And I want to give that gift to others.
Yes.
When people don't see you, it is very, oh my gosh, you feel invisible.
Absolutely.
We don't want people to feel invisible.
No. I mean, everyone listening, I mean, I know that you can relate. I mean, there's been a time where we just say, wow, they just don't get me. They don't get me. And yeah, it's, when we have tools like this that can help, number one, us feel like we are not just some lost shepherd out there. And if someone validates who we are, all of it that comes in the package, what a difference that makes in all of our lives to be able to access that.
Right.
So, oh my gosh, I am so excited. So I would love to crack my code or, get, oh, yay, we're going to go into cracking codes here. I love that. I love a mystery.
So I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
So there we go. I was going to say, we started doing this before show, but okay. So here's what I'd like you to do.
Okay.
Take a moment, read the values on these cards.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me where to drag it. Number 1 is most like you. Number 4 is least like you. It will help me to serve you better, and it will save us both a lot of time.
All right. So in scanning, and I know I've already had a pre-glance at these, already determined, because I love nurturing. That's just my strength and always has been. I was born with it. So I have to put that value as 1. Nurturing has always been a very strong suit of mine.
And why is that?
As I shared, I go way back. My mom found a paper I wrote in the 6th grade that I wanted to have 6 children. So I guess that was, I don't know. I've always been, I was born with this caretaking soul. And I've had it since I was, according to my mother and family. I was always that way. I was always one who was there to want to take care of. We have to balance that, over being just always nurture and caring can get us into trouble. But it is a strength that I definitely value. And I do this with my clients. I always put my client first, and there's nothing better than nurturing my client and giving them the gift of life and health and well-being. So that is, community is huge for me. All of those listed here are very, very strong in my value system, at the core of my values. And then I would value next action. I'm definitely an action person. The action has gotten me into a little trouble too if I don't sit back and take time to, like, let's process this first line. Um, so I have the personality that definitely needs to sleep on it, but I don't always. But I'm an action person, so I'm a doer. And I'm definitely spontaneous as I glanced at that. I have to glance over to actually look now at the screen. So I would say next is that I definitely love knowledge. So I thirst knowledge. I can all day just really love knowledge. So then blueprint, obviously the whole planning piece of it. Um, that and rules, that definitely has always been kind of at the bottom. I put everything else, above that. So yeah, so that's what I would be.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And even before you cracked your code, this is how ingrained bank is in me. Even before you cracked your code, I knew you were a nurturing action because, well, I know Lauren, but I have observed, I have looked at her writings, I have listened to her. She is absolutely 100% nurturing. If you were to meet Lauren, she'd probably give you a giant hug.
Yes, I would. As long as I had permission.
Yeah, we'll see. So, some nurturing people don't get permission, and that's just who they are.
Yeah.
And what we say is it's not personal, it's personality.
Yeah.
And so once we realize, I don't know about your previous life, but when um, when I was definitely in manufacturing, I had a boss pull me into his office and say, you know, you have no empathy. And so is doing this for you and that for you. And I had no idea. Well, he was very much displaying that I was taking something personally.
Mhm.
Now I realize it's not personal, it's personality. We have so many people that have the opportunity to do such cool things. And all we need to do is take 90 seconds and crack a code. So this this is awesome. Once you know your code, you put your name, address, name, email address, and phone number, and I'll send you a free 22-page report that talks about how you show up in the world. And when you get your report, I get another report with the same code crack, but it tells me how I need to show up to speak to you, to sell to you, what you are liable to. We call them tripwires and oh my goodness, I just lost the word, but what turns you on, what turns you off. Those are the types of things that you need to know when you're communicating with a nurturing person. Because if I start talking to Lauren in my normal knowledge, so you see the K, my code is at the end of my name. You see the K. If I came and talked to her just about learning and logic and about the big picture, I'll likely stress her out.
Mhm.
So I need to know. I need to know that I need to speak with authenticity to her. And, depending on what it is, how it will impact her personal growth. I need to be very much talking about teamwork and how her team will flourish and grow with whatever I am proposing. And that's just an example. There's so much more detail to it, but that is That is Lauren's code. And
Yes. Well, I mean, it is so true. And you're speaking to, we typically are attracted to opposites, right? My husband and I are direct opposites. I mean, he's as linear as they come. I am as abstract as they come.
yes.
And we definitely have run into those. We've been together long enough to where we've learned and we are mature enough to where we have developed the skill to be able to communicate, even though it's challenging. But he is so much either blueprint, I think he's blueprint, would definitely be, or knowledge. He's knowledge and blueprint at the front end, which exactly is what you were seeking. And there are times that I feel like, oh my gosh, where is your warm and fuzzy side? Like, I need warm and fuzzy.
You sound like my husband.
So it's like, come on, okay. And he's learned to say, I understand that you need to be talked to this way. And so it's been very interesting, not even knowing a little bit of this, but how much more expansion in the bank, I'm going to call it system, or the bank communication style system, is that, wow, what a difference that would make. And how you stop and not take that personally. You understand, oh, that's his personality talking to me. I don't need to take it personally because I need to understand who's presenting this information to me. And he does not see it as warm and fuzzy. That's just not at all. That is like nurturing. I shouldn't say it's his let, but yeah, it's very, very interesting. So
Yeah.
thank you for cracking my code.
And I have a set of cards, physical cards, sitting in front of me with your code
Oh,
to remind myself
uh-huh.
how to speak to you.
I love it. Oh, and Judy, we have Judy. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know we are so grateful to have you here. And it is just so fascinating how that, when did this start? Like, when did the founders of Bank start Bank or come up with it?
So the bank methodology started at the early 2000s. I'm not sure exactly what the date was, but early 2000s. So this is a very young system compared to other personality typers out there. It is very much it is young, and there's a lot of people who see it
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, oh yeah, I've seen it, to the point of they've cracked their code and they've gone no further, and they're like, but I like X personality type or better. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet, tell me what you love about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I have not found anything about X personality typer that I find as simple and values driven. Most personality typers are not values driven. They are they're psychologically driven.
Yeah.
And that's why, people will say, well, I'm a high bleh, and I'm oh, cool. How does that work with your values? What are you talking about? What do you mean values?
Yeah.
That's why they kind of flame out. And there's just so much to it. And what you were saying was very interesting about you and your husband being opposites. My husband and I are kind of opposites. He's an AN and I'm a KA. So we connect at that action piece.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you guys have figured it out
Mm-hmm.
is beautiful, because opposites attract and they also attack.
Mm-hmm.
So if you and another person are just why don't we get together and have a conversation about that, and we can talk through it.
Right? I know. And that's not always easy when you let the emotions take over.
It's not personal, it's just
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and that's just core values is the root of the work I do too. And I think, it really is, at the root of living, everyone. It's the root of finding your health, your happiness, your well being. is that you have to get real with your core values. And that's what I love about Bank and how it really brings forward, the awareness of it, because as you mentioned, many of us, and we see it, socially everywhere now, is that many are operating outside of their value system. It's on autopilot or survival mode. Whereby, if we did go deeper into understanding all of this, gosh, think about what a beautiful world we would have, right?
Right. We say that bank is one world and one language. I don't care where you go in the world. If you have somebody crack their code, you can really make people matter because they are seen, felt, valued, and understood.
Yeah.
And they are through this set of values. We have these cards in many different languages. We have picture cards for children. And it is really amazing. Once that code is cracked, how you more authentically interact, but it's more of instead of the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated, it is the platinum rule.
Yeah.
Treat others how they want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Now you know, because here's the key.
Well, I know everybody's going, wait a minute, I want to crack my code. So how can someone crack their code?
So if you'd like to crack your code, you can go to meetwithleanne.me and schedule a free 30-minute session with me. Before we get on the call, I ask that you crack the code, just as Lauren and I have just walked through. Again, I will send you a report. Put your information in. Nobody sees it but me. Put your name, your email address, and your phone number in. And we'll have that 30-minute consultation or appointment. And you can learn a lot more about Bank and what I do and how I go out in the world and just make the world a kinder place.
Lovely, lovely. And heavens knows we need that now more than ever.
Yes.
So, and I love your story. I love the journey that you have shared and been so open and, outside of the studio doors, because we have known one another. And I just love what you're bringing forward. And I can just see that Bank is opening up so much more in life for you, for everyone that is being touched by it. So I'm so grateful. So everybody, book a call with Leanne. So I'll take it, if someone books a call, they will get the link to crack their code before they get on with you.
Yeah, it's one of the questions. You may have to copy and paste it and put it in your web browser, but the link is there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'd love to have a conversation. I mean, I'm not going to be like, whoa, so, but, I can make you aware of what this means, how you're showing up in the world. And I can probably even help you with that crazy family member that just wants to sit in the corner and read at every event. They never want to participate.
Yes, you can get your cards and you can go.
I don't even need to know that. All I need to know is that they want to sit in the book.
Well, as you can tell, you will have a ball with Leanne. So book a call and crack that code, start living, start listening to the people in front of you, and then you'll start having, I promise you, much better conversations. And that's my love, is having conversations. So I needed to crack that code because I love talking with people, and I've loved talking with you, Leanne, always. So I'm grateful to have you here on the other side of the studio, and grateful for everybody that was jumping in and tuning in. And just do reach out to Leanne, and we will see you on the next episode of The Other Side of the Studio. And I think that next episode, which will be interesting, is about living a complaint-free life. Kind of falls right in tune with what we're talking about today, is how can we start living a life complaint free. Wow, that would actually be a wonderful thing too.
Yes, yes,
Start
it
with
would.
I know.
I need
Bank
to
will
do
get
it
you
tonight.
there. Bank will get you there. Oh, Leanne, it's been so great. And thank you again for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I think that's telling us that it is time. We have had a good 30 minutes here on the other side of the studio today. Everybody make it a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.